guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for joining me again today. I'm going to be showing you my contouring routine. For this, I really only use a couple items, like literally 3. The contouring palette I use is the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. Oh, it gets so much praise, and that's because I think it's really good. I have to admit to you, I really haven't tried many other contouring palettes, but the shades in this are just so good for my skin tone because I have pretty fair skin. So I feel like this does the job for any color that I could possibly need, even my super tan skin in the summertime, which is basically like a medium shade of white. I have already put on my base. It's the exact same base as is in my winter hydrating base video. I'm going to try to put a link for it right there. Never done that before. Maybe it'll work. If not, just go to my list of videos and you can watch me do that. Since I've already done my base, we're going to just go ahead and get right into the contouring. I have this brush that I got at Sephora. I was going to buy the brush that came with the Kat Von D palette, but at the time I was too cheap to buy it, and I didn't. And I feel like this is a pretty good substitute. It doesn't have the 2 sides to it, so I just have to kind of keep wiping it off on my arm so I don't like become muddy with the mixture between the light and the dark. This brush is the must-have angled blush brush from Sephora. When I bought it, I could have sworn it said it was for contouring. Maybe it's like a contouring blush brush, but now I'm in too deep and I use it every day, so I don't really care what it's called. So first I'm going to start with this lightest shade here called Lucid. It's the first color to hit pan for me. I just bought the replacement color, but this one's still hanging on, so we'll use it still. I just apply it right here and then go up to my cheekbones, under my eye, all the way up to the side of my hairline. Same on this side. I also put it right here, down the center of my nose, and on my chin, also above my eyebrows and on my forehead. So that's pretty easy. I will return to that later to kind of touch everything up. But moving on, I just kind of wipe this on my arm when I'm ready for the next color so it doesn't blend with the color before. Next I'm going to use this first shade here. It's called Subconscious. And I just use, depending on which side of my face I'm doing first, I normally just put it on like this side of my brush, the angle of the brush. Because if I just put it right in the middle, I don't want like a giant blob of color on my face. I'm just kind of putting a little bit on the edge here so I can kind of work with a smaller angle. You can kind of naturally see where the light hits me right here. I have pretty decent cheekbones, so you can kind of see it already. But that's where I'll start applying the color. The first thing I do is just kind of go back and forth in that area. Just kind of blend it out. And then the next time around, I just put a little bit more on. And now I'm going to blend it up on that line. I'm going to take the second color here, Shadow Play, which is a warmer tone. The first tone is more of a cool brown. I try to use mostly the cooler tone. I don't have a very warm skin tone, so that wouldn't look really good on me to just use this one. It's best to work with cool colors and then add a little bit of warmth to it, but I don't want to look like a corpse, so I'm going to use a little bit of the warm tone, just a little bit, again, with the angle, and then just kind of blend that up with the first color. And then, mostly in the summer, but also a little bit in the winter, I will use the last color here, Somber, only a little bit though, because it's very dark, especially on me. Some people might use it every day, especially if you like maybe more of a bold contour, but I only use a little bit, like literally I just barely touch it until like you can see a little bit of the powder on my brush, and a little bit goes a long way. I'm basically done with this side. I'm gonna blend it out a little bit more in a minute, but that's the initial application. So I'm just gonna do the same thing to this side. It's very hard doing this on the camera. Again, still don't have a mirror in front of me. I just don't have one of those little standy ones. Oh. There's one on there. Wow, that makes such a difference. So next, I'm going to apply it at the top of my forehead. So again, starting with the coolest tone here, putting a decent amount on my brush. I'm going to look in this now. I'm going to apply it along my hairline. I don't like to go too far down my forehead just because I don't want to make it look like I don't have one. Just blend it out into my hairline. I only go about to where my temple is, because also that's where your hair starts to naturally come down a little lower anyways. Same thing with this side. Next, I'm going to use the same warmer tone, a little less than what I did with the coolest tone. And I might go a little bit farther down my forehead with that, so it looks a little bit more natural. You don't want just like a stark line across your forehead. So the cooler, the warmer one just kind of helps blend it down into the rest of your foundation. Sometimes I use a little bit of the darkest color too. I guess I will, why not? Okay, that's pretty blended. The last place that I usually put my contour is along my jawline. Again, coolest tone. Putting it on the edge of my brush here, and I'm just gonna run it down my jawline. Start up by my cheek, and go all the way down the side. Then I'll put a little bit more on this time, blend it down. I'll usually do the first application a little bit more bluntly, and then the second one I'll use to blend it. I don't always use another color for this, but I will. Same thing on the other side. I don't know why I always say that. Like, why would I not do the same thing on the other side of my face? I don't know. Just gonna kind of blend everything down on my chin here. Sometimes I do a nose contour. I know there's different contouring techniques for noses, but I've never really felt like I've been able to master one, so we're not gonna try one today in this video because then it would look terrible and no one would watch it. For my last step here, I am going to be using this yellow, like the banana tone, called Lyric, and putting that under my eye. I've got this little eyeshadow brush from Coastal Scents that I usually use for that. I was told you don't want to ever just, like, run it across your under eye. It's not going to blend into the rest of your makeup, so I will dab it across, but then I always blend it down into that whole eye bag area. Thankfully mine aren't too bad, but the yellow is supposed to help cover up any kind of baggage or dark under eye circles that you have. My very last thing that I want to do is just make sure everything is super blended. You don't want any kind of harsh lines with your contour or you're gonna look ridiculous. I have this little kabuki brush from Pixie by Petra. I just kind of use this to mix everything together. I just realized I forgot something. So the actual last thing that I'm going to do before I blend is go back to the Lucid and put it in between the two colors, so that way if anything kind of blended into this middle area and it's not just going to look like a giant brown blob, you want to separate those two so they look like separate contours. So I usually just kind of dab it across here, just to get it on there initially, and then I blend it in. Sometimes, again, I'll go back over on my cheeks. And my forehead, and my nose. So now I'm actually done with this part of it, and we're gonna blend. I kind of use circular motions for this. And I go along my cheek, kind of blend it into that highlight that I have. For contouring on your cheeks, you always want to blend it up. You don't want to bring it down and make your face look saggy. You want to do it what looks natural, so you'll just blend it up into the highlight. I'm gonna blend it along my jawline, so we don't want any harsh lines with contouring. It's not what it's about. We want to make it look natural. And then up here too. And we're all set. This is my contouring application. I guess you could also call it my contouring routine / how to use the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, because this is literally all that I use. It has really good shades that are very good for multiple different kinds of skin tones, but especially for light skin tones like me, I feel like it works super well. So 10 out of 10, 4 stars out of 4, Kat Von D, you've done it again. This is an excellent contour palette. Plus, I bought it a while back when it was just the whole palette and you couldn't really take anything out, but I know now they do make it where the metal trays, you can actually buy the replacements and replace them. So that's an even more exciting bonus. That's the end of my contouring video. Thanks again for joining me on my channel. See you next time.